Are Jax and Britney back together? Is Kenya Moore officially fired? And Shannon Doherty's going broke? Get ready. We're going to dive into all of it. You're listening to No Filter with Zach Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Hi guys, welcome on in. What's going on, everybody in the club? Oof. Hi, good morning. Happy, what's today? Wednesday, happy hump day. Juneteenth, if you celebrate Juneteenth, or I guess it's like a national holiday now. So happy Juneteenth. What's going on, everybody? We have a bit to cover today. I wouldn't say we have a ton of tea to cover today, but Jax and Britney seem to be reunited. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know if they're gearing up for the new season of The Valley or what's happening. But here we are, right? Okay, what should we start with today? I guess we can start with the Jax and the Britney of it all. Everything, all the Justin Timberlake stuff has like been continuing to unfold because now he's like, I only had one martini, give me one margarita. And he was released, and this mugshot came out, and then there were these photos of him coming out of the handcuffed. I think he was either coming in or coming out of jail, but whatever. What? Listen, I'm just gonna say this, and I know it's not gonna be popular, but he was looking like a snack. His mugshot was a little like 2 a.m. glossy eyed, a little more than a martini. He was looking a little Dorinda Medley, but they released those photos of him in the handcuffs, and I was like, oh, hi, you can put me under a conservatorship. I'm ready, But yeah, he was looking good. I know y'all don't want to admit it, but he was looking good. His mugshot looks like he had something. Yeah, reality TV lover says his mugshot looked hot. Joe Mendoza says, happy Wednesday. Happy Juneteenth. Michelle says he looked like he'd been crying me a river. Well, no, I don't think he was crying. I think his eyes were just glossy because he was, inebriated. He was, oof. It was a little sauced up. I think that was a little more than just one martini. Give me one martini, throw me behind bars. But we'll see. He's pled not guilty. They're claiming that, the only reason that they took him in was because he refused to take a breathalyzer test, and that's why they locked him up. So it looks like his attorneys, I mean, granted, they're high power attorneys, they're going to fight it hard, and he's probably going to skirt by. Jessica Biel was photographed on set. She's taping a new show. They caught photos of her. She seems fine and unbothered. I mean, I guess what else are you going to do when your spouse is arrested and you have to go to work the next day? You're just like, all right, got to do what you got to do, and I got to get to work, and we got bills to pay. Now we got attorney's fees to pay. So she got to get back to work. But yeah, that's the latest on Justin. Let's talk about Shannon Doherty real quick, and then we'll get into the Jax and the Kenya of it all. But so Shannon Doherty wants spousal support. Lee Armstrong in the live chat says that they think that, or she thinks that Justin's case will be dismissed, possibly if they have no firm evidence, but they also have body cam footage, don't they? I mean, his eyes do look glossy in that photo. But I mean, if they have no concrete proof and he's going to fight it, it's possible that it does get dismissed, but I don't know. We'll see. Who is calling me in the morning? Damn spam calls, potential spam. Okay. That said, Shannon Doherty wants spousal support. She's asking for $15,000 in monthly spousal support from her ex-husband, Kurt, who she claims cheated on her last year. Remember, she went on her podcast and she was blasting everybody into her whole first episode about the demise of her marriage. And she's like, I had cancer and he was living in another state and he was cheating on me and it hurt my heart. And he later came out and he's like, I didn't cheat on her, but we were living separately. Like I lived in another state. Like we were technically separated. And she's like, no, we weren't. But it was also kind of weird that like he is married to her and his wife has cancer and she's stage 4 cancer now. And she doesn't have much time left. That you would think it's strange that he has moved to another state. But They're separated. They're now divorcing. She wants spousal support, $15K a month, because she claims that he makes substantially a lot more money than she does, and he can afford to support her. She also wants $9,000 in attorney's fees, naturally. Even though she is the one that's filing for divorce, she is fighting for, she's like, well, I mean, I guess he cheated on her, so she's entitled to something, right? But in her court filing, she says that her main source of income is her Charmed residuals, which is interesting. But she says that that'll significantly decrease when Charmed is removed from all major streaming platforms, which will happen at the end of June. So we know that it was removed from Netflix a couple years ago, and I don't know what streaming. So what is it currently on? Let's see. Where to watch? Which I don't know if I buy that. You know. Okay, so you can watch it on Peacock. So it looks like it moved from Netflix to Peacock, and I'm assuming, which is weird that Peacock's already getting rid of it if they've only had it for a while. They have it on Peacock, they have it on YouTube TV, but believe YouTube TV is reruns that come from like TNT. So she's still getting TNT residuals, and I assume if it's on YouTube, she would still get those residuals as well. And then apparently it's also on Amazon Prime Video. But I think you have to rent them on Amazon Prime Video. Yeah, because you have to rent the episodes on Hulu and Apple. Okay, so it looks like it's mainly on Peacock, which is where it's likely to be removed. I do like Charmed, love Charmed, but let's be honest, how much is she making from Charmed residuals if she also has 90210 residuals, and 90210 still airs all the time on cable television? Charmed still airs. I'm assuming, doesn't it still air on TNT? I remember they would always air Charmed in the mornings. I mean, I guess if you continue to run, I mean, they've been running on TNT for like 25 years now, that I would assume after a while, they only have what, 7 seasons? After a while, it gets um, a little boring, but I don't understand. Joe says, how much would she be making on Charmed residuals? Also, does she not get residuals from 90210? Exactly. She does. She should be getting 90210 residuals. 90210, is TNT still a thing? I think so, right? TNT is TNT still a channel? Let's Google that. TNT, the Turner Network Television, is still an American cable channel and satellite television network that airs movies and TV series, most dramatic programming. Is Charmed still on TNT? Is Charmed on TNT? Currently airs reruns weekday mornings. Full episodes of Charmed are also available for viewing on TNT's official website. So Charmed is still airing. One of the Google searches is, why is Charmed still on TNT? Which, listen, I remember watching it in the mornings. That's how I know it's on YouTube TV, is because you can watch them on demand from YouTube TV. But like, my God, like, how many times can you re-air Charmed? So she still has Charmed residuals that I assume are still making money in regard to 90210. But also, Holly Marie Combs, if this is what if Shannon Doherty is claiming that she lives off of Charmed residuals, and that means Shannon Doherty and Alyssa Milano must be making bank off of Charmed residuals, because if that's her sole source of income, and she was only on for 3 seasons, whereas Holly and Alyssa were on for 7 seasons and they were producers, huh? Google got shade for Charmed. Google does got shade for Charmed. I haven't even heard of TNT. Have you not heard of TNT? I mean, it's not popular anymore, but but yeah, she was only on Charmed for the first 3 seasons, and I'm surprised that that's her main source of income. But I would assume she still has 90210. She still has, I mean, I guess BH 90210 didn't do well. I mean, movies, right? Don't they still get residuals for like classic movies? Heather, is this still a classic that airs occasionally? I guess not that often anymore. But she's still doing conventions. She's done a few conventions, and she did the Charmed panels, and now she has Holly and Rose that are by her side, and they're doing the Charmed panels together, but without Alyssa Milano. Remember, there was all that drama because she's like, Alyssa Milano got me fired from Charmed. So anyway, She's doing that, and then she has her podcast. I mean, I don't think most of these celebrity podcasts are not making that much money, to be honest with you. I know how much you can make in podcasting, and I know what I make, and I can tell you, I know their numbers, and their numbers are not they're not what you would assume a celebrity podcast would make. But that's because most people don't care for celebrity podcasts unless there's like a juicy episode, like when she talked about getting fired by Alyssa Milano. But after that, I don't think anybody's really listening to Shannon Doherty's podcast anymore. But she's coming after Kurt, and she's like, "You better pay up." But whatever she's making off of her appearances at conventions and her Charmed podcast, I mean, I'm assuming it's significantly less than 15,000 because that's what she's asking Kurt for. But she claims that because of her cancer, which is currently in stage 4, she's unable to work as much as she used to, and so she's only been able to recently secure one acting gig, which I understand, right? Same thing with, oh my god, what's the, why is her name blanking? I can see her face. She was in Dead to Me. Um, shit, the girl in Dead to Me, the one that now has, oh my god, why is my brain totally blanking today? Dead to Me cast. Christina Applegate. She she's somebody that I know she can't really act as much anymore, and even when they filmed the last season of Dead to Me on Netflix, she talked about how it was really challenging because she had just been diagnosed with MS, and the scenes were really tough to get through. Who was the other one? Selma Blair. Selma Blair. Yeah, she was struggling in recent years too because didn't she also get diagnosed with MS? But she was even still trying to act. How is Selma Blair doing? Yeah. Oh, she has, yeah, multiple sclerosis. She's doing much better. And listen, she's still working, she's still acting, she's still coming to events. I mean, I'm not trying to compare Christina Applegate to Selma Blair. I'm just saying those are two actresses that have also recently, had debilitating diagnoses that have been challenging for them, but they're still finding ways to make money. And I feel like Shannon Doherty, um, well, I guess more than she's an actress, she was a director. But like, here's the thing too. Um, They can very easily do the Charmed reboot that Alyssa Milano wanted to do. Alyssa Milano was like, "Let's reboot Charmed. Let's do a Charmed movie. Let's do some updated, like, let's do like when Gilmore Girls did Day in the Life or Year in the Life, sorry." And they did 4 90-minute episodes for Netflix, and it was winter, spring, fall, summer. And I thought that that was a good sort of reboot, that I thought they could have done something like that for Charmed. Obviously not as seasons, winter, spring, summer, and fall, but like something similar, even if it was like 2 or 3 movies or 2 or 3 of those, like 90-minute style shows. I thought that that would be great, but none of them wanna fucking work with Alyssa Milano. I'm like, "Listen, Alyssa Milano is the one that's making the most money out of all of them. She's the one that's still a working actress, so she's the one that needs it the least." Holly Marie Combs has what, Picket Fences, which I don't think is airing anymore. She has her Charmed residuals, which seem to be keeping her comfortable. She has her Pretty Little Liars residuals, but I don't think Pretty Little Liars is really airing anywhere. Maybe a couple of streaming networks, but it's kind of lost its luster. I would assume Charmed is doing better than Pretty Little Liars is, and I don't think Holly Marie Combs is making that much off of Pretty Little Liars because she was barely even on it. She played one of the moms, and even then, she was like the least featured mom, which was strange. And she hasn't really had a major acting gig since then. She's doing conventions too. She does conventions all the time. That's how she pays her bills, is with all the conventions that she does. And then we have Rose McGowan, who's also not really acting, but Rose has a more like credited resume, right? She has like what was that? Planet Terror. She has Conan the Barbarian. She has Charmed. She has Jawbreakers. Like she has a lot of those movies that like still do air. Um, what other shows did she have? But and she'll still take a couple of, like, acting, she has her book residuals, like, she seems to be doing fine, um, which good for Rose McGowan. But of all of them, like, Alyssa Milano was on Netflix shows recently. She was on Insatiable and what is that, Wet Hot Summer, Dirty Hot Summer, whatever that summer, like, comedy show was. So, if Alyssa Milano wants to reboot Charmed for the sake of the fans. And the other three, I feel like, can pull their shit together to work with her, not just for the sake of the fans, but for the sake of their paychecks too. Because if Shannon Doherty is afraid of Charmed residuals running out, then that means Rose McGowan and Holly Marie Combs should also have that same, same concern. I think Rose may be okay, but Holly needs to be concerned. Joe Mendoza says, was Shannon Doherty marketable for her acting gigs even before she was diagnosed? Well, she wasn't acting, though. She was directing. That's what she ended up doing. She was more of a director. Wait, Charmed is coming back. No, it's not coming back. They have talked about it. They were in talks with Netflix. Alyssa Milano was the one that was spearheading trying to make it come back. And apparently it's not coming back, but she wanted to do. Oh, Alyssa was also hosting Project Runway for a while. No one seemed to like her on that show. She just seems like she has an attitude. Yeah, she seems a little entitled. Little House on the Prairie. Oh, that's right. That still airs on like those old people channels? No, what are some of those old people channels? Where they air like where they air MASH. MASH, I'm sure, is still airing on one of those cable channels. I'm sure Shannon Doherty has Little House on the Prairie money. Joe says they can't do a Charmed with Shannon, Holly, Alyssa, and Rose because there has to be just 3 witches. No, well, they can find a way to listen. People died and came back to life on that show all the time. The mom and the grandma, Patty and Penny, died and kept coming. We kept seeing them on the show, so they can find a way to bring back Prue because Prue died, and that's when they replaced Shannon Doherty with Rose McGowan's character, Paige. But you can find a way to work all 4 sisters in. And could you imagine, since they've never done all 4 sisters, that would, like, people, the diehard Charm fans would absolutely watch that. Selma had stem cell treatments. Good for her. She's much better than Christina. Yeah. Well, she's like had it a lot longer, that I'm sure she's tried a variety of different therapies. Okay, let's move on because people want to get into the Bravo stuff. Oh, somebody says Melissa Milano is a bitch. I don't know who Melissa Milano is. I mean, we've obviously heard things about Alyssa Milano, but I'm not sure who Melissa Milano. It sounds like it's a little personal. Maybe you went to high school with her. Not really sure. I'm surprised they haven't pulled Alyssa for a housewife gig. Alyssa would never do a housewives show. You kidding me? Alyssa Milano would not do Real Housewives. She doesn't have to. She doesn't need the money. She has enough acting credits. She's still a working actress. She has her podcast now. She's leaned hard into politics and built a niche for herself there, even though she's very hated by the conservatives. She still built a niche for herself. And yeah, she's fine. Oh, don't bring back Billy. Billy was the worst character that they added to Charmed. And that was Kaylee Cuoco. Kaylee Cuoco wouldn't come back for something like that. Billy, that was rough when they added in Billy's character. Okay, let's move on to the Bravo stuff. Because we like Bravo, Johnny Bravo. But before we do, I got to remind you that this week's episodes are brought to you by the ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program. In today's world, we insure a lot, right? From cars and homes to cell phones and even travel plans. But what about insurance for your cat or dog? With ASPCA Pet Health Insurance, you can focus on the care your pet deserves and cover what matters most. The ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program offers customizable accident and illness plans, making it easier for pet parents like you and me to help your pet get the care that they may need. The ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program has been around for over 18 years, and they've helped more than 600,000 pets during that time. They allow you to customize your plan, helping to ensure that your pet's plan is as unique as they are. Because vet bills can really add up, especially when you're least expecting it. It's simple. Use their app to submit a claim and you'll receive reimbursement for eligible vet bills directly into your bank account. To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/no-filter. That's aspcapetinsurance.com/no-filter. Again, that's aspcapetinsurance.com/no-filter. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independence American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTZ Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance. And not only that, but it's summer. It's getting hot, right? And if the summer heat has you worrying about the strength of your deodorant, listen up. I'm about to turn you on to the only deodorant you'll ever need. It's called Lumi Whole Body Deodorant, and it's formulated for all the places that tend to get sticky when the weather warms up, like your pits and your privates and your feet. I use it all over. I put it to the test at the gym. I even use it when I'm running around downtown with the dogs in the summer heat. It works, okay? I'm telling you, it keeps me dry and it keeps me smelling nice. No funky dunky stuff. So not only does it go where other deodorants don't go, but it's outrageously effective. One application in the morning is clinically proven to block odor all day. So even if the summer feels like you're in Texas, okay, or even if you are literally in Texas, you don't need to worry. Lumi has you covered with up to 72-hour odor control. Ready to make this your freshest summer yet? Well, I've got a special offer. New customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. Use code NOFILTER at LumiDeodorant.com. That's code NOFILTER at Lumi, L-U-M-E, LumiDeodorant.com. LumiDeodorant.com. That's LumiDeodorant.com, code NOFILTER. Okay, let's talk about Jax and Britney. It's Britney, bitch. Okay, so we have Jax and Britney that seem to have reunited, and it feels so good. Reunited and misunderstood. So we got some new photos of Jax and Britney celebrating Father's Day together out in Huntington Beach. And in the photos, we can see them hanging out with crews, walking down on the sand. Jax is wearing all his Jax's uh, Studio City Bar merch, which makes me think that maybe he tipped off the paparazzi. But they seem to be having fun, right? They're swimming with crews, and they're playing with him in the water, and they're chilling on the beach, having a gay old time, right? I don't know. I feel like Jax tipped off the paparazzi because he has his big jet. First of all, it's fucking hot as balls in LA, and you're gonna tell me he's going to the beach in a black hoodie? No. I have black Zack Pack merch hoodies. I ain't wearing that shit to the beach. I'll maybe wear it when it cools down in the evening, but like it's been so hot, especially over this past weekend. I was like on fire. Miami's on fire. But no, Jax and Britney, I don't know what's going on with them. I'm kind of annoyed with them because they keep playing these games with us and it's like a circle jerk. And I don't, I get the co parenting piece, but I also feel like there may be more than just co parenting, which listen, they are just separated. They're not divorcing yet. So it's possible that they're trying to work on their marriage or they're just trying to make sure that they have something interesting to mix in for the new season of The Valley, which I believe is going into production soon. So I don't know. But I mean, they look like one big happy family. They look like they're having a good time together. Jax is just a jerk. And I feel like if he cuts back on being such like a controlling, well, but that's who he is. That's the other thing is it's like he's in his 40s now. He's not going to change very much. This is who he is. This is who he's always been. This is who she married. He needs to find somebody that's compatible with him or that maybe doesn't trigger these parts of him. But also, I mean, I guess this is a question for anybody that's been in these long-term relationships, like these over 10-year relationships. Is it possible that people can change after all that time? Is it possible that you can find a better way to communicate? Did we talk about him taking meds? Um, I don't think we talked of Jax. I don't think so. Deborah Harvey says, I thought the same thing about Jax tipping off the paparazzi. Well, it's obvious because he's wearing Jax merch and it's obviously going to keep them relevant and it's going to make sure that they build up some new story for the Valley season 2. It is very on the nose. It's very obvious with this one. Laura says people can change, but don't usually. Yeah, you can't really teach an old dog new tricks. You can, but you have to be really dedicated, and the old dog has to want to learn new tricks. E-Bunny says, Zach, you'd be surprised Huntington Beach can have some very cool weather even in the summer. Yeah, I mean, the beach is usually a lot breezier, but you're also, my point is the sun is so hot that even if it's breezy, the sun beating on you is going to be hot, 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 hot. And it just, with how hot it was in the city, that I can only imagine, like, it's still gonna be pretty warm at the beach, even though it is typically a little cooler at the beach. It's still gonna be hot, too hot to be wearing a big black hoodie. Joe says antidepressants can help with depression, but not with being a douchebag. Valid. Boozy Bitch said, "What happened to Jax's new girlfriend? Is she gone already?" Apparently. Well, I mean, come on. What is she going to be spending Father's Day with him because she calls him daddy? No. Nikki B says, "Taking meds doesn't help assholeist. It just calms down delivery people like Amazon." Sarah says, "Jax on his podcast said that he's seen a doctor, plus they put him on meds for mental stuff because he was mean to everyone." Well, maybe it's helping. At least he finally went to the doctor. I wonder if he's in therapy like Brittany wanted him to. Bethany says, "Did we ever get an answer on what happened with Lori K?" No, they've never addressed that. Does Lori still represent Jax? Let's see. Let's check his Instagram and see. Oh, wait, I think I'm blocked. Jax. Oh, Mr. Jax Taylor. He's okay. So she still represents Jax. What about Brittany? I don't think Brittany is represented by him. Brittany? No, she's still represented by Ryan, but she does not appear to be represented by Lori K. So we don't know what happened with Lori K. There was speculation and people like assumed that it was there was some sort of affair, but does not appear to be the case. Well, it'll come out eventually. I'm sure it'll come out on season 2 of The Valley. But they're together forever. It's Whitney and Heather, best friends. Okay. Let's talk Kenya. Because Bravo and Cocktails is now reporting that the network has reviewed all of the footage from Real Housewives of Atlanta from her hair care event. This is the best fucking promo she's gotten for that hair care line because we can't stop talking about that event. So even if she gets fired from Real Housewives of Atlanta, it was still good promo. That said, Bravo and Cocktails is claiming that the network reviewed the footage. They were shocked, quote unquote, shocked by what they saw. And they have zero tolerance for this type of behavior. Therefore, they are considering axing Kenya altogether. I believe they have decided to axe Kenya. It just hasn't been made official yet. But they want to make it clear that they have zero tolerance for this type of stuff and they don't want any of the legal ramifications from Brit. Obviously, everybody and their mama wants to be throwing lawsuits out at Bravo, and they're like, we don't want to deal with another one. This is like, we're working hard to shut up Leah and shut up Brandy and shut up Caroline. What's going on with Caroline's lawsuit? I want to know if the judge dismissed it yet or not. Joe Dito, can we get on that case, please? What is going on with Caroline Manzo's lawsuit? But my thing is, okay, I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to get myself in trouble, but what else is new? I saw this interview that this other blogger did. Everybody's so creative. Everybody's suddenly an expert, a commentator. But I saw this interview. I didn't listen. I will preface it by saying this. Let me make this very clear before y'all go and start some shit on the internet. I did not see the full interview. I did not see the full context of the interview, but I did see a clip on Instagram. Okay. And this blogger was being interviewed and they were talking about the Kenya Moore drama. And listen, as bloggers or Bravo content creators or whatever you want to classify yourself as, whatever that is, if you're talking about Bravo, you're monetizing off of the scandals of Bravo. Same way the network monetizes off of them, right? They monetize off of it on the content of the show. But my thing is, it's like suddenly it's unpopular to like Kenya Moore because, suddenly, everybody wants to talk about how these shows are too toxic and blah, 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 blah. And so I was watching this blogger. I don't want to name them because I don't want to call them out personally because I don't want this to be another Kakamaraca situation where I use something that I see online as an example to speak about a bigger issue. And I show one little thing that is specific to one person as an example. And then suddenly it becomes this big drama, So I saw this person in a clip in their interview where they were talking about how they're so disappointed in Kenya and oh my god, like this is so terrible and how could we should have a zero tolerance for all of this. And I'm just like, really? Like why? Because it's popular to be like, oh, we have zero tolerance for any of that. I'm talking about the bloggers, not the network. The network obviously has a bottom line that they're trying to protect, right? But I'm talking about all these fake ass bitches that want to go on the internet and act like they're gonna clutch their pearls and act so shocked as if housewives haven't been doing shit like this forever. Okay. They've been pulling wigs, they've been pulling hair pieces out, they've been flipping tables. Remember Cop Without a Badge? Season 1, Real Housewives of New Jersey, they shamed Danielle Staub through the Cop Without a Badge book on the table. Okay. They watched Danielle Staub's sex tape on Real Housewives of New Jersey. On Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, we've had Brandy Glanville out Denise Richards. Everybody's so fixated on Kyle Richards and her relationship with Morgan Wade before it became a mainstream headline topic. Everybody was speculating on it, wanting to out Kyle Richards. Like, doing these crazy things where you're exploiting people or, using people, all these cheap stunts have been done for what, almost 2 decades now. This is what Housewives is. I'm not saying that it is morally right. What I'm saying is all of the sudden it's popular to have a moral compass and people want to be like, ooh, let me clutch my pearls and act like, oh my God, this TV is so offensive. Where the fuck have you been? This has been reality TV for the past 2 fucking decades. Where have you been? What have you been doing with your life? Oh, yeah, you've been watching it, eating your popcorn and drinking your wine or blogging about it because that's like what you've done. What Kenya did was disgusting, but I feel like they're making an example of her. They are, but that's my point. Let's call it what it is. The network wants to protect their bottom line because they're tired of the lawsuits. Therefore, they're cracking down on this bad behavior. That's what it is. It's not suddenly people have a moral compass and they're like, oh my God, that is so terrible that she showed some OnlyFans photos of this girl, Brit. Remember when Tamara and her son got Gretchen naked, wasted? I mean, listen, these things have, like, this has been the culture. This has been Housewives for what? We're on season 18 of OC for nearly 2 decades. People champion this shit. Real Housewives of New York. You want to talk about slut shaming? They called each other hookers and whores and sluts. And Bethany told Luann, you fucked everybody. And everybody was like, yeah, Bethany, you tell her. And now all of a sudden we want to be like, oh, how dare Kenya pull one of these cheap trick stunts? They've been pulling these cheap trick stunts for a long time. And the only reason that bloggers now want to call it out and talk about how terrible it is because the loudmouths on Twitter want to talk about morally, let's talk about morally corrupt. Where did that come from? Oh, yeah, it came from Camille shaming Faye Resnick for posing for Playboy back in what, season 2 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Let's pull out the textbooks. Let's go. History lesson. Everybody wants to these cheap stunts have been done for years. The standard has changed because people started to cry that it's too toxic and they're newer subscribers to Housewives. But Housewives culture has always been dark. I'm not saying that it's right. I want to make that very clear. I'm not saying that it's right and I'm not trying to defend Kenya Moore, but what I'm saying is people with their faux woke they're felt like, oh my God, oh, what are you talking about? What are they doing? People were cheering on Monique when she was beating up Candace on Real Housewives of Potomac. Okay? That's what these shows have always been. Call it what it is. Don't be some fake woke ass bitch now. And that's not specific to anybody. That's a general blanket statement. I'm not calling anybody that specifically before you go and start some shit online. I'm not saying that about anybody specifically. I'm more saying that everybody is just suddenly wants to act, you know, woke and talk about being morally upstanding. Nobody watches reality TV because it's about morality. Nobody wants to learn a Jesus lesson from watching reality television. Sorry, they just don't. Lee says, I agree, Zach, but I think it's all tired now. People can't afford groceries. These women's problems just seem stupid now. Listen, I'm not saying that the culture is not evolving from Housewives. I'm just saying this is what Housewives has always been. If we're growing past that, then Fine, let's find new entertainment to watch. But to criticize these women for doing the same things that they were once paraded for, we celebrated their bad behavior. We, as the audience, celebrated their bad behavior. We kept the ratings strong. We kept their bills paid. We are responsible for these women's bad behavior by encouraging it, bloggers included. You covered them, you made them relevant, you made memes out of them, you took their slogans and made merch off of them to fund your own groceries. And now suddenly you want to slap them on the wrist and reprimand them for the behavior that a few years ago you were clapping for them on? Bullshit. That's what I will call bull to the motherfucking shit. It's bullshit. It's faux woke bullshit. You want to act like, oh my God, I suddenly have a moral compass. No, you don't. I hear the shit all these bloggers say behind the scenes, and none of them want to say it on camera. None of them want to say it on Twitter because they're too afraid that the mob is going to come after them. Trust me, as somebody that's been with the mob after me several times, you will survive, okay? A single mom that works 2 jobs, that loves her kids and never stops, you will survive. Okay, at least be honest, at least be real. Half of the shit that these people say publicly is all bullshit, because the shit that they say behind the scenes when there are no cameras on and they're not live streaming or they're not typing it into their little blog or whatever the fuck it is, it's all bullshit. It's fake. When you see the housewives calling each other out for the fake bullshit, that's what I'm doing right now. I see fake woke bullshit and I'm calling it out. That's not to anybody specifically. I know several people that I can name off the tips of my little fingers and toes. I ain't going to blast them. I'll let you believe they're fake bullshit. And I'm not saying that it's not time to change the bad behavior. I'm just saying you have to acknowledge the fact that we celebrated these women for their bad behavior. You can't just go from hot to cold overnight like that. It's not fair to them. They made, like, Brandy Glanville. I feel for Brandy because it's like Brandy has always been rewarded for her bad behavior. And now all of a sudden, everybody wants to punish her for the same things that she was doing 2, 3 years ago. I get it. Culture changes. I get it. Things evolve. But then you also have to have the grace period for how they evolve. And by immediately just throwing Kenya into the fire and throwing Brandy into the fire, that's bullshit. I don't think that's fair to these women. You put these women on a pedestal for their bad behavior. You made memes off of them. You still use their gifts all the time. You called them mother. You made them queen. Whatever the fuck you wanted to do, you paraded them for that behavior. Okay? You can't just all of a sudden be like, you know what, today I don't want to face the mob. So I'm going to put out some bullshit that the mob wants me to say. And I'm going to be just Team Ariana because that's a safe play to be. Fuck off. I see your bullshit. Sorry, I got a little fired up. Coconut 47 says, I hate to say it, but you're right. Yeah. It's just, I'm tired of the fake bullshit, you know? On Jeff Lewis Live yesterday, Andy confirmed that they will still do girls' trips moving forward. Great. Are you talking about Adam? No, I'm not talking about Adam. Well, I wasn't talking about Adam, but I mean, can't leave him out of that one. You notice it's most women being attacked. Yeah, all the people that want to be like pro women, we love women, are now the ones that are, you know, ripping apart the women. It's like, it's all fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna call out your bullshit. I always have and I always will. I've always been contrarian. I've always been on, you know, unafraid to take the unpopular side. But I don't play with the fake bullshit. I'm always going to be me and tell you who and what I am. High and Low podcast, Bravo, Bravo, Ducking Bravo account did a really good deep dive into Caroline and Dina's relationship with nuanced details that were so compelling. Ooh, I'm going to have to check that out. Please DM that to me, Mallory. That sounds interesting. Maybe I can do an episode on that. Lee says, I'm not Team Ariana, but she looks so beautiful with her new chin on Love Island. Does she have a new chin? I just thought she looked hot. And she does look hot. She got the hair extension. She got the tan popping. She got the body banging. She looks incredible. Ariana looks incredible. I didn't know she got a new chin, though. Don't shame her for getting a new chin. You get a new chin. It's funny. I just saw, who did I? Oh, I was on TikTok this morning and I saw this clip of when Jacqueline was calling out Melissa Gorga for having 4 nose jobs. And Andy at the reunion asked Melissa, he's like, "Have you had 4 nose jobs?" And she's like, "No." And then Jacqueline's over there like, "Yes, you have." And I was like, "I'm such a Jacqueline. I will call out your fucking bullshit. Like, why lie? Why are you lying about your 4 nose jobs?" And Jacqueline's like, "You didn't go to see this many number of doctors when you were getting your nose job done." And then Melissa's like, "Yes, yes, it's true, but I didn't want to say that because it's my secret to tell. It's my business to put out there. And now I have to tell my daughter, that that I had a nose job." And I get Melissa's point about not wanting to tell your daughter, not putting that in your daughter's head that she needs a nose job because she should embrace her natural beauty. But then at the same time, the best way to teach that lesson is to not get a nose job yourself and to embrace your own natural body. Or let her know that you can make enhancements, that's okay. If the enhancements, if you've really thought about them and they make you feel more confident, then own those decisions, right? Keeping it taboo and hush hush, I don't think is the smart way to play. But it was just funny because I saw that. Um, Jamaica Zipfel says, "I agree with you, Boo. Love this rant. I feel exactly the same way. Thank you. I feel like I'm not crazy." Billy says, "Zach, don't play. When do I ever play? I don't play. And when I play to win. And I always do." Joe says, "I don't want to facilitate with Zach starting the chaos, but are you talking about B. Scott?" I'm not talking about anybody specifically. I know better than to read your fucking Joe. I know better than to read your comments without pre-reading them. Diana Power says 1000% agree, Zach, but then you have the Leahs that file lawsuits against the network for their bad behavior. No, I agree. We're in this weird transition phase. And all I'm saying is it's okay to say, "Hey, we're in this weird transition phase. So while we navigate this thing, let's not cancel people left and right. And let's not ooh, they're taboo. Let's not look at Kenya like she's, some plague that we don't want to touch because she's too controversial." Did we not learn anything from the cancel culture from years before? We're still playing this fucking shit. There's nuance, there's context, there are layers to these issues, and we have to acknowledge that right now we're clearly in a transition phase. But with that transition comes this outrage culture where everybody wants to find new things to be outraged about. I saw on Twitter yesterday somebody was outraged and upset and mad that Dolores wore some sort of veteran's jacket, and they were like, "She's not a veteran. How dare she wear a veteran's jacket?" And I'm like, "Really? Are we running out of things that we're being outraged by, that we're just going to pick apart every little infraction that we see?" So we have this outrage culture, and then we have this overcorrection. Let me pretend that I'm going to clutch my pearls and act like, "Oh my God, that's so bad. I would never do something like that." And then these bitches behind the scenes want to talk their shit. That's not what they're saying publicly. Trust me, I know a lot of them. I've had conversations with a lot of them. If somebody blasts me for my conversations that I've had privately, one, that sucks, but two, I have to own my shit. And there's nothing I've said behind the scenes that I wouldn't say publicly. I would own who I am. I own what my positions are, even when they're wrong and I have to correct them down the line. That's how we learn. Sharon says, "When did Ariana have time to get a new chin?" Well, I mean, can't you just you can do the filler chin, right? Where they just inject a little bit of filler and that gives you the new chin. Okay, thank you for sending me that, Mallory. The new rule is there are new rules. No, the new rule is just I don't know. Luciana says, "Bottom line is companies get to decide because they sign the checks. The fans' outrage will continue company policies, not just in this industry." No, it's true. Corrections, not enhancements. Sarah says, "People need to learn how to change the channel." Yeah, that too. But people don't want to change the channel. People want to be angry at something. People want to feel like they're so important in the world that they want to take on a cause. So they're going to take somebody down because it makes them feel important in their own fucking lives. Sorry, your life is so boring, but why don't you actually do something interesting with it? Why don't you go feed the homeless? That'll be a better use of your time other than running your little fingernails on Twitter. Coffee Buzz says, "I'm outraged my joint is all the way in my bedroom." You got this, girl. You got this. Hike, hike, hike to that bedroom. Andy complimented Caroline's corrections on Watch What Happens Live last night. Oh, Caroline Stanbury, was she on Watch What Happens Live? I was excited to see Portia and Kenya reuniting. Yes, I also heard, I don't know if this is just a rumor or unconfirmed or not, but I also heard that there was another potential Atlanta housewife that was also either electively not choosing to film or also put on pause for something related, and that there may be a big cast shakeup coming to Atlanta. All I know is Atlanta is now in their New York era. Remember when New York had their reunion canceled, and that season was struggling? Like it's not looking good for Atlanta right now, or Jersey. Boozy Bitch says, "No more canceling. Let them be who they are, and we will gather them ourselves." Okay, that's not what I was saying. Laura says, "What if someone calls you a slob, Zach?" I, I know where Dolores comes from. Slob is the worst thing you can be called. I don't know if I agree with that. Uh, Joe says, Joe, I need to read your comments before I put them on the screen. Joe says, I think there may be one position about a disagreement that Zach will not publicly detail. If you know, I think there may be one position about a disagreement that Zach would not publicly detail. Joe, I actually, for once, really don't know what you're talking about, but I'm sure it's real shady. Ooh, Marianne Stout's back in the live chat. What's going on, girl? Susie S says, if Kenya is fired, why does Sandoval still have a job? I actually broke that down yesterday and broke down the differences between the two and how what Kenya did, the network has more liability because what Kenya did happened on set, technically, while they were filming Real Houses of Atlanta, and it was part of her story, right? They were filming this, and it was Kenya against another cast member, and it was on the company time and on the company dime. Sandoval and Rachel, they had their naughty FaceTime off camera. When cameras were down, production was off. And not only that, but production has footage of Kenya revealing this footage. Therefore, they have Kenya committing the actual act on camera that they're now in possession of that footage. Tom Sandoval is denying the claims that he denying the claims against Rachel. And not only that, but Sandoval hasn't been charged with anything criminally because Rachel chose to not file criminal charges. Instead, she's suing him civilly. So she's pursuing money from him, but she's not looking to have him held accountable criminally. So he hasn't been charged with anything. So while you may find what he did distasteful, I personally think it's very distasteful. It does not seem that he did any of that with any malice, like with any bad intent or with the intent to distribute, which would be revenge porn, which he has not committed. Her claims are that he invaded her privacy and she's accusing him of eavesdropping. She also accused him of a intentional infliction of emotional distress, which has since been dismissed by the judge, and she has not presented a new case to prove that he did that with that intent. So very different situations where the network does have a lot more liability with Kenya than they do with Sandoval. Because here's the other thing. If you want Kenya fired because of Sandoval and you want Sandoval fired because of what he did, then you also need to fire Ariana. And that's what people don't want. Why everyone's like, oh no, but we love Ariana. But Ariana is currently being sued for revenge porn, which is the distribution of images that were meant to be private, that were intimate of Rachel. And so, therefore, if Ariana is being accused of revenge porn and Tom Sandoval is being accused of eavesdropping and invasion of privacy, then therefore they should be held to the same standard because they both technically committed a crime, even though neither of them have been charged with the crime because Rachel has not pursued any criminal charges against Tom or Ariana. But if you want to hold it to that same standard of firing Kenya and firing Sandoval, then you would also have to fire Ariana by that same standard. Billy says, why don't they realize how stupid they look when they choose to become unhinged? Because they don't think that they're stupid. Why didn't production step in to stop Kenya? I think because they didn't think that it was bad until Twitter started talking about how bad it was, or until Brit was threatening to sue the network. I think that was also Brit was threatening legal action, is what I heard. How can it be eavesdropping when she sent it to him? Well, she didn't send it to him. It was a FaceTime recording. Um, it was the two of them on FaceTime together, and he recorded that FaceTime call. So again, how that's eavesdropping, I don't know. I know it does violate a two-party consent law when it comes to recording somebody. How it's eavesdropping, I'm not really sure, because eavesdropping is when you're like spying on someone without them knowing that you're spying on them, but when they're in a place where they're expected to be in private, right? And you're spying on them somewhere that they're not expecting you to spy on them, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah. Okay. My opinion is that they are two different situations. I agree with Zach. Well, I mean, they are two different situations. That's a fact. Um, L says, or E says, Tom recorded it and Ariana found it and sent it to herself and Rocky Rocky Bang Bang. Correct. And they've been accused of these claims, not crimes, but claims because it's a civil lawsuit. So we'll see what happens. So you say. Candy says they put Sandoval on pause until the lawsuit gets resolved. Level of consequences for level of offenses. Ariana should be in the same boat. Kenya shouldn't be the only one paused and canceled. I agree. However, the liability falls on the network in Kenya's position. So that's why I think they're acting on, and it's the season is actively ongoing. But yeah. So we'll see. I also don't know how credible Rachel is these days. I feel like her credibility has been a bit shot. Nikki B says the term fired when they are under contract. I wonder if different talent has different contracts that would account for inconsistent reactions by the network. Yes, because I believe the contracts that they have are with the production companies, not with the networks directly. I'm not entirely sure, but different production companies, different networks, different producers, like it's all different states, different laws, all very different. Again, why context and nuance and all these things should be factored in. Yeah. Let's see. Allie says people keep going after Sandoval, not Ariana. Ariana was the one who told the others about the video, even if she didn't show it. Tom deleted the video once Ariana found it. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is everyone wants to hold Sandoval accountable, but it's like if those are the standards you want to set for these people, then unfortunately, I know she's your favorite. I'm not saying we should hold Ariana accountable. I think what she went through was terrible, and I don't want her to continue to have to face the ramifications of that when she didn't do anything from the beginning. She just got cheated on. But you know, if those are the standards, then you need to have a single standard and stick to that standard. All right. Deborah doesn't think that Jax and Brittany are getting back together. She just thinks they're co-parenting. Fair. All right. Did we get through everything? Jax and Britney, Kenya Moore, Shannon Doherty. Yeah. Justin Timberlake. Yeah. All right. Well, there we go. We wrapped that up like a condom on a campus, on a college campus. Okay. That said, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in to No Filter with Zach Peter. I'm live here on YouTube. We live stream every morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I'll be back again tomorrow on Thursday. And you can listen to No Filter with Zach Peter on all podcast platforms, including Spotify and Apple. If you listen on Apple or Spotify, definitely be sure to leave a nice review because I love those reviews. I think I got a new one, a nice new one. Let me see. Give a little shout out. Yes. Lily, right? Lil Kyrie 10. Lil Kyrie 10 says, love your show. I love your show. I'm always smiling when I listen. Thanks to you. Thank you, Lil Kyrie. I appreciate that. You can also catch a new episode of The Pop Report, which is out right now. New episodes of The Pop Report drop on Wednesdays and Fridays. We talk about more details into the Justin Timberlake arrest. We talk about Army Hammer breaking the silence. New music coming from Heidi Montag and Katy Perry. Scooter Braun retiring, all that stuff. You can catch a new episode of the Pop Report out right now, available on all podcast platforms. And get ready for the new season of Disaster Daters, which is coming July 2nd with Tom Schwartz. So be sure to subscribe to Disaster Daters as well. All right, guys, I love you. I appreciate you giving me a follow at Just Plain Zack. If you want to keep up with me, follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack, and I'll talk to you later. Ciao for now. Bye. Got that all in. Damn.